I want to specifically address a situation when MISHDA and BECKA force a family to pay, even only $3 because the landlord chose to raise the rent. And MISHDA approved. The landlord disputed MISHDA's fair market rental rate, FMR, and MISHDA relented and said, okay, we'll approve it. The housing agency decided to make me, even though my income hasn't changed, now I have to pay $3. $3 plus the service fee, because rent is due, different time than your pet fee. Rent is immediate. Pet fee has to be paid by the 7th of the month at my complex. You have until the 7th. So the 7th end of day. After that, you'll get a notice that you have to pay it immediately, or they'll officially file a notice to quit. And so they keep explaining that that 30% of my income is the utility fee, which is 120 something. That's all the allowance they give you, but we don't get anything. So basically, what happened by the rent increasing is BECKA, the housing agency, took away our utility allowance to pay the rent. My income never changed, only the rent rate did, which was approved by MISHDA to pay the rent, because evidently the property manager made a good case. I wasn't involved in this because, as usual, I've never been given a HAP contract in 8 years. Not one copy of a HAP contract in 8 years. Even though I signed one a long time ago. And, every time that we renew the HAP contract, it has my name on it. But I'm not given a copy. And so and I'm sick of people saying that I think the world against me. I am so sick of it. The problem is we are surrounded with people that are poor listeners. They don't know active listening skills because they don't care. They don't care what happens to my family or other veterans. They don't care. They get their block grant for rent vouchers, and then that's it. My statement to the state of Michigan, to the governor, and to the director of MDHHS and the director of housing, this state has the worst case management for homeless veterans that I have ever seen. But they take the money for the vouchers. They take it anytime they can. But they provide poor case management. The only case management that I've seen for veterans on HUD-VASH, Section 8, or MISHDA is one, to make sure they get as broken down mentally and physically as possible so they can get on disability. And then boom, what do they immediately do after that? They start making them pay their cut of the rent. They never get on their feet unless they do family self-sufficiency, which I've said in another video, is you basically giving money to MISHDA to put an account that they control. You can't touch it. And I may be wrong, but if you have a problem and you get kicked out of their program, I could be wrong, but I don't think you get the money. I think they keep it. So, I could be wrong about that. But, like I said, what has happened to my family and other veterans is wrong. It's wrong. They keep making money off of you, and these companies don't make it think, don't be led to think that there's some poor 501c3, some nonprofits that are struggling to help people. These companies, they pay their workers wages. Wages, more than likely, I think, is hourly based wage. And then they pack their boards full of 1 or 2 people sitting for 2 or 3 positions. That way, all of the profits that's left over go to only a couple of people. But while the veterans that are on the programs get disenfranchised and they get led to think, oh, you've been given such a blessing, You have a voucher, to help you pay your rent. You're no longer homeless. But yet the things that led you to being homeless, none of them are changed. If that voucher rug is pulled out from underneath those veterans, they'll be right back on the street. This is poor case management. I'm not a big supporter of anything Republican or anything Democrat anymore, but you know what? I think the budget cutting, we need to be not cutting the funding for individual veterans. What we need to do is start sending those case managers to the unemployment line, sending caseworkers to the unemployment line, sending caseworker supervisor managers to the unemployment line, sending program supervisors and program directors to the unemployment line. Because if they're not going to provide long-term care to save the taxpayer money and to help veterans get on their feet, whatever is their maximum improvement, so they can be financially stable and then need government help less because they're on their feet, they don't deserve the funding to be employed. Why don't they give those veterans that are struggling the money? Then they won't have to worry about housing because they'll have their disability plus a paycheck. But they're not. All the money goes to social workers that, in my experience, when I was a kid, I knew some good social workers, many. But now that I've aged, all that I see out of social workers, 95%. There's 5% that I've encountered that are not covert narcissists. And I am sick of it. I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of people always saying, oh, you think the world's against you. I never said that. That's people putting a word in my mouth. What I've said is there are a few people that are using their agency connections, their family, and their friends to absolutely ruin the life of myself and my daughters. Absolutely ruin our life. And every time we get a benefit or help, it's weaponized. Everything weaponized. I don't have any feelings of paranoia. I do not think the world is out to get me. I do not think the world is a bad place. I just think that it seems that somebody is organizing against us and making sure that anything involving our case, from the point that we were repatriated by the embassy until now, making sure that we only encounter people who have bad intentions. Doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. I've seen evil from both sides of the aisle. Both sides. So that's now why I can say, yeah, it was a great idea that the Obama administration, created Obamacare. But what's problematic about the Obama administration is they allied themselves with Anonymous and other hacker groups to hunt child predators. These are criminals. So no, I don't like Obama's decision on many things. And as far as Trump, yeah, it's great that Trump is cutting budgets, trying to trim the taxpayers, trim the meat that the taxpayers dish it out. But the problem is with Trump is they're not holding people accountable. They're letting corruption continue. Matter of fact, there's many people that I've found, QAnoners, that will openly be abusive because they feel that nobody will hold them accountable. And they won't. So everything that my daughter and I endure, and the more and more aggressive that people get towards us and they try to undermine us, the time is going to come, something's going to happen to us. And believe me, I'm not going to let harm come to any of my daughters. I'll put it at that. I believe that the Lord and his mother, Our Lady, that they will let me know. Now's the time you have to act. Our help, this is what you're going to get. Now's the time you have to act. Because this person or these people or this group or this agency, they have bad intentions for you. And one of these people that is friends with them that just got out of jail, they're going to try to hurt you. And then I'll know. I'll know what to do and when. Because the time's coming, because nobody gives two hoots what happens to us. People either sit back and laugh or they pretend it's not happening at all. And this makes me sick to my stomach. I served my country with honor. My daughters are just innocent girls, makes me sick to my stomach.